blender? And if you do, what type of blender would you say it is that you own? Is it large? Is it medium? Is it small? Does it have a lot of buttons with different speeds? Or is it an old-fashioned type of blender that only has maybe a few buttons? 2, maybe 3? I do have a blender in my home, and I would have to say it's a rather large one. You see, as the man of my house and as the head of my household, I took it upon myself to be the manager of the blender in my home. Now, when I say blender, what I'm actually referring to is my family. You see, I do have a blended family. My wife and I, we both come from previous marriages. My wife, in her first marriage, she produced 2 sons. And in my first marriage, I produced 2 sons and 1 daughter. So when she and I met, we fell in love, we decided to get married, and we brought 2 families together into one. So as the man of my household, I just decided that it would be up to me to ensure that our family blended together perfectly to become one single functioning unit. The way that I do this is something that I call the cake mix method versus the salad bowl method. Now, on one hand, you have the salad bowl method where if you think about a salad, you have all different kinds of ingredients. You have your lettuce, your pickles, tomatoes, onions, croutons, bacon bits, and so on and so forth, whatever you like. You cut your ingredients up, you put them in the bowl, you mix up the ingredients inside the bowl, you mix it up as much as you like. But at some point, you may change your mind and say, you know what? I don't want any onions today. Or I'm not in the mood for pickles. And you can begin to pick out the pieces that you don't want and just keep the ones that you do want. On the other hand, with the cake mix method, if you think about a cake, you have your mix, your eggs, your butter, your sugar, and whatever else you put into your cake mix, you mix that all up, you blend it up nice and good, and what you have then is one single element. You can no longer pick out any one ingredient from that cake mix. You can't take out the eggs, you can't take out the butter, you can't take out any of the mix. It's all blended in together perfectly. Also, if you put the oven on the right temperature and you stick the cake mix in the oven for the right amount of time, what you'll get is a good smelling and sweet dessert. And that's the way I look at my family. I want my family to be a good smelling and sweet tasting dessert. It is not easy to do that. In fact, it takes a lot of time, a lot of affection, a lot of patience, and a whole lot of love. Without those things, it would be impossible to bring in all of these different personalities, different attitudes, different ethnicities and backgrounds and upbringings, and put them all together and expect them to blend together perfectly in no time at all. It's just not going to happen that way. So there's an old saying that goes something like this: you spend your time and your money in the things that you love. I love my family. What about you? Do you love your family? Are you willing to invest the time, affection, the patience, and the love that it takes to ensure that your family runs as a smooth and single functioning unit? I am the manager of the blender in my home, and you too can be the manager of the blender in your home. And together, we can all have families that are blended, that work, that are effective, and full of love.